Hi, I'm Raquel DeSouza, and with me today are Khushboo, Bhatia and Zaidi. They're running for student body president and vice president. Thanks for being here today, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So you both have been involved in a lot of organizations on campus. How has your experience in these organizations influenced creating your platform?
Great question. Like you said, I'm Khushboo Bhatia. I'm involved in a couple different things on campus. I'm a member of Fraternity and Sorority Life, I'm a Mason Ambassador, Patriot Leader, and involved on Mason K-Rung, a cultural dance organization here on campus.
I've been involved as an off-campus advisor this year. I've also been involved in United Muslim Relief, Muslim Student Association. I've also co-founded South Asian Student Association.
Okay.
And so, having been a part of so many different organizations, in nature, whether it be cultural organizations, fraternity, sorority life, that's really helped us kind of develop a vision, progress for Mason, progress for students, and what progress for students, progress for Mason, and what that looks like. And so being in these different identities, we hope to bring those and continue to bring those identities to the table.
Okay.
And working with administration.
So you brought up your two hashtags, Progress for Mason and Progress for Students. How did you guys come up with that?
Another great question. So I've been in student government for the past 3 years. I currently serve as the chief of staff.
I currently serve as the chairman of the Academic Affairs Committee,
Okay.
and it took a lot of brainstorming. It took a lot of time to think about it because it doesn't come easy trying to think of a slogan. You want something that captures the essence of your whole platform while also being short and sweet and something people will remember, so it took a lot of time.
Okay.
Yeah, and so having been in student government for that amount of time, we both had such amazing experience being able to work on so many different projects and, actually be able to make some progress and certain initiatives that we've had or been able to be a part of.
Okay.
And so we hope to continue that moving forward.
Okay, great. So a big part of your platform is student-centered university policies. Can you give some examples of what policies you're looking at?
Yeah, so, a lot of what we are looking at is refocusing a lot of the conversations that are happening at Mason with the administration. So a big thing for us is kind of making sure that every population here on campus is accounted for. So, we want to make sure that students that are off campus and off campus are both accounted for. And so a couple of the different things that we're hoping to do are really revolved around making these populations more comfortable and making them feel proud to be a part of Mason. So whether that looks like, going to the Johnson Center at 1 p.m. not having a space to go, we want to reassess things like that and see, well, we have so much space on campus. How can we reevaluate the way that we're utilizing our space and make space more available to students on campus that don't necessarily have like a residence hall, or even if they do and they just want to spend time in the Johnson Center, where they can go and have a place to be.
Right.
And then we're also looking at other student-centered policies. We're also looking at non-traditional students, transfer students, because a lot of the time from what I've heard as an off-campus advisor is that they feel a little left out with their orientations, a little bit in terms of their experience, and their transition into Mason isn't as smooth as it could be, as well as learning about the resources on campus versus coming here as the traditional four-year student. You don't learn as much in your transition period.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I'm sure you're both aware, a student government undersecretary was recently released because of tweets about undocumented students. So, do you think this has changed your perspective of how student government should be run?
So that's a great question to ask. Having been in this organization, we hold ourselves to a high standard, and we definitely encourage our members to hold themselves to a higher standard too. Just as every student should, no matter what organization they're a part of. And so moving forward, I hope that everyone can be, just mindful of who they represent, but also really encouraging open dialogue with people and, encouraging people to, talk through things and having conversations with others, because you never know what you might learn about yourself with someone else.
Yeah, great. So there's also been controversy, national news about Greek life.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have an idea of how to ease tensions on Mason's campus between students and Greek organizations?
Yeah, so being a member of fraternity and sorority life, you're always being scrutinized for one thing or another, I feel. But I think what helps us overcome that, or what helps, this community to overcome that is really taking a stand against these stigmas and really saying that no, our purpose is to positively impact every and any community that we're a part of, through philanthropy, through community events, things like that. And so I think reminding ourselves and the student body and everyone nationwide that we're here to make a positive impact, and we're going to continue to do so.
Okay. So, Ms. Bhatia, I know that you've lobbied to keep the Ridge, and you mentioned how you want to utilize the space more on campus.
Yeah.
So, is this going to be part of your guys' campaign as well?
Absolutely. I think, again, we're looking at student space on campus. What our goal there is to really just make more spaces available for students, in the middle of the day to come and be able to study. And, if we can, with the Fenwick Library reconstruction happening, we're going to have so much more study space, which I think is great. And so continuing to look at that and making sure students, we're here to learn, to have, a space to study, making sure that's accounted for is, I think, very important for our student body.
Okay. And Mr. Zaidi, I know that you have campaigned for more various food options on campus, like halal, kosher, and vegetarian. Do you think Mason Dining has improved on this?
I definitely do agree that Mason Dining has worked very hard on improving these options. In fact, they on the dining committee that I sit on and have sat on in the past, they've stressed that please come to their dietitian. She's great. You can come learn a lot about the different options that they have, and a lot of the options that go unnoticed a lot of the time, especially when there's so many options when you enter a dining hall. So they've really worked, especially with the Globe now, the Globe Dining Center. They have a lot of halal options there, kosher options that they're looking into. So they've been improving very well in that aspect.
Okay, and how do you plan to take this step further in your campaign?
With the rise of a lot of construction in new buildings, there's a building called Academic 7 that's coming up in the future, and more dining spaces coming up, looking at how can we integrate more food options that involve those specialty food items. So looking at more of the halal, kosher, vegetarian, gluten-free, helping address those specific issues and by adding those options. Like we have Jorge's now that added a new element to our dining capabilities here on campus, and as well as diversifying the range of food that we offer.
Okay. Do you guys have anything else you want to tell me?
We're really excited for the opportunity. Thank you for having us here today. Progress for students, progress for Mason, we believe is something that's bigger than just the two of us. Like we've talked about, we've been involved in a lot of different organizations and a lot of different initiatives on campus. But moving forward, our goal is really to just help students feel like, every voice is accounted for. Every student should be proud to be a patriot. And moving forward, we believe that progress for students is progress for Mason.
Great. Well, thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much for having us.
All right. You can follow us on Facebook at GMU 4th Estate for more candidate interviews and updates. This is Raquel De Souza for 4th Estate.